Every few years, a game comes along that reminds us why we fell in love with storytelling. Not for high scores, not for collectibles, but for the moments, the stillness between explosions, the quiet before the choices, the weight behind every stare. Mafia. Old Country isn't loud, it's heavy. When you launch it, there's no tutorial, just silence. The camera pans over the sleepy Sicilian coast. A violin creaks in the background. You see Enzo, your protagonist, standing still at the edge of a field. He's not holding a gun, he's holding a basket of bread. That's your introduction. And from that moment, you realize this isn't just a prequel. This is a statement. Hangar 13 isn't here to retell the Mafia story. They're here to rewrite what you expect from narrative games. Development, a different Hangar 13. Mafia 3 was ambitious, flawed, but memorable. Its world was rich but repetitive. This time, Hangar 13 focused not on scale, but intimacy. They brought in cultural historians from Sicily. They hired Italian playwrights to workshop scenes. They studied not just criminal history, but emotional lineage. The team took 2 years just to design the village of San Celeste. Streets aren't built for combat. They're built for community. Every home has a family. Every store has gossip. Every bar has a regular. The new engine, Unreal 5. But they don't just use it for graphics, they use it for humanity. Wrinkles deepen during arguments. Pupils dilate in fear. Mud sticks to your collar after rain. You don't play this game, you live in it. Setting, San Celeste, a living character. San Celeste isn't a sandbox, it's a pressure cooker. Every alley has a secret. Every mountain trail leads to a story. During the day, it's charming. Farmers, fishermen, shopkeepers. But at night, the real San Celeste breathes. Backdoor deals, whispered prayers, confessions under candlelight. There's a hidden passage under the church that leads to a war shelter. A ghost town in the hills where the flu wiped out a neighborhood. A burnt bakery that people avoid for reasons no one discusses. The map is small by open world standards, but emotionally, it's massive. The story, Enzo's slow descent. You are Enzo Favara, 19 years old, son of Salvatore, a widower who's lost everything but pride. You have a brother in the monastery, a sister who's betrothed to a merchant, and a father who gambled with the wrong family. Your life begins with a letter, a debt your father owes. And your first mission, you walk it to the Torrisi family estate and beg for time. You don't fight, you don't shoot, you plead. That's the tone. You're not chasing glory, you're avoiding ruin. But the more you try to save your family, the deeper the hole becomes. One mission sends you to collect money from a former friend. You can take the coins, or listen to why he can't pay. One choice makes him an enemy. The other makes him disappear. The best part? The game never tells you what was right. Narrative mechanics, a living script. This isn't a game of press X to do good. Every conversation is reactive. NPCs respond to what you know, and what you pretend to know. Gossip becomes weaponized. You learn names, birthdays, mistresses, and you use them in dialogue like ammunition. There's no mission log, no fast travel. If someone tells you to meet Don Torrisi by the vineyard when the bells ring, you better listen. If you show up late, the moment is gone, permanently. One mission takes place during a funeral. You wear black, you walk with mourners, you stay silent. The choices aren't in buttons, they're in behavior. And the consequences, oh, they come. Later, quietly. A cousin stops talking to you. A guard refuses to open a gate. A song plays differently at the cafe. It's not branching paths, it's emotional erosion. Combat, raw, desperate, necessary. Guns exist in this game, but they're feared. You don't loot ammo, you buy it, or steal it, or often go without. Combat is short and terrifying. Most enemies die in one shot, so do you. There's no health bar, just breathing, bleeding, black and white at the edges of your vision. You don't run into fights, you stumble into them. One mission forces you to defend a priest from attackers, but if you find the alternate path, you can bribe them. If you overhear their fear, you can exploit it. If you miss those chances, you kill. And the priest, he never speaks to you again. This isn't about skill trees. This is about silence, about stillness, about hesitation that kills. Game systems, not a game, a world. Old Country has weather, but not for visuals. It affects everything. Rain hides footsteps. Thunder covers gunshots. Sunlight burns through your coat, making Enzo cough if he's injured. You feel it. The seasons matter. Some missions vanish if missed. Some people die off screen if you don't act. Animals return to places you've cleared. Children remember the candy you bought. Priests notice if you skip church. There's a reputation system, but no meter. It's in the faces around you, the looks, the doors that open or slam. Characters, no one is safe. Every major character has a full arc. No one exists just to talk. Your sister Lucia wants to escape. You can help her, or betray her, or delay until it's too late. Your best friend Pietro runs a cafe. He tells jokes, loves poetry. He gets arrested in Act 2, unless you warn him. If you don't, you see his name carved into the prison wall in Act 3. There's a child named Nino who plays hide and seek. Every time you find him, he teaches you something, a shortcut, a password. In Act 4, you find his toy on the road. He's gone. Nothing prepares you for that. Visuals and sound, performance, not presentation. Unreal Engine 5 does miracles here, but not with flash, with friction. Cigarette smoke curls differently based on wind. Shoes wear down over time. If you don't polish them, guards comment on your poor upbringing. Music plays in real time. A band in town performs. If you offend them, they stop. Gunshots scare pigeons. Weddings attract crowds. Fireworks signal parties, or hits. Your controller shakes not when you're hit, but when Enzo panics. There's a moment when you walk into your childhood home and the piano plays a note, just one, wrong, flat, because your mother isn't there. Sound isn't design here, it's dialogue. Themes, the cost of silence. Mafia, Old Country is a tragedy, but not for shock. It's about what we swallow to survive. It shows how the mafia isn't seductive. It's suffocating. How honor becomes excuse. How loyalty becomes silence. One of the most gut-wrenching missions is simple. You sit at a table and listen to your father lie, and you nod, because it's easier. The game doesn't judge you, but it never lets you forget. The biggest game of the year? So, is it the biggest game of the year? It doesn't have the biggest budget. It doesn't have the flashiest trailers. But it's the game we'll talk about in 5 years. The game that gets studied in classrooms. The game that reminds developers why silence matters. Why wait matters, why games matter. Because Mafia, Old Country isn't here to impress, it's here to haunt you. More side stories, San Celeste's secrets. San Celeste isn't just a setting, it's a memory machine. There's an old woman who sits at the fountain every morning. If you greet her daily, she begins to tell you stories, bits of lore that piece together the town's forgotten tragedies. One day, she doesn't show up. You find her chair empty, and a black ribbon tied around it. There's a painter who refuses to sell his work. But if you save his daughter from a fire in Act 2, he opens his studio. Inside, a portrait of you. Unfinished, eyes scratched out. You don't complete side quests here. You witness them, interact with them, remember them. That's what makes them unforgettable. Religion, sin, and the church. Faith is woven deep into Mafia, Old Country, not as a mechanic, but as a mirror. Enzo's brother Matteo lives in the local monastery. He serves the people, helps the poor, but he knows your secrets. He asks you to confess, and depending on what you tell him, his path changes. There's a mission where you're asked to burn ledgers hidden in the church basement. If you do, the mayor wins re-election. If you don't, the mayor vanishes. And Matteo? He finds out. Later, he confronts you in the confessional. You don't speak, but you hear his breathing, shallow, angry. Then the booth door slams. This game isn't just about what you do, it's about what you hide. Character relationships, trust erodes. Enzo's circle is small, but every thread frays. Lucia, your sister, dreams of America. You can fund her escape with blood money. If she finds out, she stays, and resents you forever. Your friend Pietro, a poet, a pacifist, gets caught harboring a fugitive. You can lie for him, risk exposure, or let him take the fall. The trial plays out in the background of other missions. NPCs whisper about it. Some spit at you, others pat your back. Every action ripples outward, not through meters or UI, through people. Civilian life and faction politics. San Celeste isn't divided by crime families, it's divided by desperation. There are fishermen guilds, bakers unions, farmers who pay protection to rival gangs. Every NPC has a stake. And the Torrisi family? They play them all. You're caught in that web. At one point, you're asked to resolve a labor dispute. You can bribe the leader, intimidate the protesters, or sabotage both sides and blame the communists. Each route changes future missions. Which stores open, which prices rise, which allies remain. There's no morality slider, just memory and consequences. Environmental storytelling, the world reacts. If you kill a dog in one mission, its owner leaves town. If you spare a debt collector, he shows up as a grave digger later. Graffiti changes, newspapers adapt. A radio host begins mocking your choices. Unless you silence him, the game remembers, not to punish, but to reflect. Enzo's house deteriorates if you don't visit. His mother's grave collects weeds, small, ambient details that scream louder than dialogue ever could. Fan theories, the game beyond the game. Already, the community is spiraling into theory. Why does the font change on some letters? What's with the mirror reflections not matching Enzo's actions? There's a theory that this entire game is a confession, that Enzo is telling the story as an old man in jail, misremembering, exaggerating, omitting. Some players found a hidden room in the final act with photographs pinned to a wall. One of them is you, holding a knife you never used. People think there's a second ending, a real ending, one triggered only by playing the entire game without killing. And guess what? No one's found it, yet. Ending, choose your cost. The finale doesn't end with a bang, it ends with a letter. You either deliver it or destroy it. And depending on your choices, you don't see what happens. You hear it, on the radio, in a whisper, in the silence of a town that no longer says your name. The screen fades to black, not with music, but with a prayer. And when the credits roll, you realize this wasn't a crime story, it was a tragedy. Final thoughts, the game of the year? Mafia. Old Country is not perfect, the controls aren't for everyone, the pacing is slow. There are no explosions every 10 minutes, no boss fights with glowing weak points. But that's the point, it's a story told with trust. Trust that you'll listen, trust that you'll care. And if you do, it gives you everything. The biggest game of the year isn't the loudest, it's the most human. And this one bleeds humanity. This was Gaming Demon. We don't chase trends, we chase meaning. If this moved you, like it. If this made you curious, subscribe. And if you played Mafia, Old Country, tell us below. What was your final choice? We'll be watching. Until next time, keep your blade sharp, your heart heavier, and your stories on.